Mane fa say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Today, because of Godfrey Dame, Solo is attacking all lawyers and oh yes, he is, unfortunately so. But on this matter, I don't even know where to take the matter from again, because seriously now I'm mentally tired. I was thinking by this time either Godfrey Dame himself would have resigned or would have had a statement from the office of the president so that it can guide our discussions going forward. But it appears that the presidency is adamant. Godfrey Dame himself is outside the country having fun. And so it appears the gravity of the matter is lost on us. And I think that the MPP is engaged in something that I'll call on all Ghanaians to begin to pay attention to. That they are engaged in what we call conditioning. They're trying to deliberately condition people to think that certain ills of society are just acceptable, that we should just live with it. And I believe that they are even hiding under the cover that by next week another scandal will happen, and then we'll put Godfrey Dame under the bus, just like we were discussing Pualugu. Before we could finish discussing our $12 million, then we had the SNIT sale. Then before we could even exhaust the details of the SNIT, then this Godfrey Dame came. In fact, while we were even discussing the SNIT, we were not done. Then SML corrupt scandal came. And so gradually, it's like when you are a slave and your master has been caning you with metals, and then you are now being caned with wood. Although you are being caned, you feel that, oh, the pain is not as compared to the past. So maybe, I think that we should all be conscious of this, that the MPP is deliberately choking us with scandals. Many people have criticized the NDC and said that you people are not as vocal as the MPP when it comes to scandal. You know why? And for the listeners and viewers, under President Mahama, you could practically count 1 and 2. So for every communication line, you have 1 and 2 they'll talk about. What we have is a list of more than 100 different things happening in different sectors of the economy. In agri, there is a scandal. In health, we can't even manage it. In the economy, bobo. Now when we thought that, oh, as a lawyers, how bad can it get? Sometimes you wonder. It's just the male lawyers who sometimes you have 1 or 2 immoral scandals of they being involved with a woman here and there. But otherwise, for lawyers, you'll be wondering what scandal could the lawyer possibly be engaged in, because the profession is such that you're always trying to get someone out of trouble, that you even forget yourself. And so, for us to be having this discussion at the time when our country is reeling under, I don't know. Everything is not right. The MPP is telling, I'll come to the contents of the whole matter, but the MPP is telling us that, you know what? It is so grave an error that we are having to talk about some 2.3 million euros, and that let the heaven falls, even if Atiforson goes to prison, that we don't even want to take the monies back, that we want to give the people of Ghana so much justice, that we are being told that how much is involved in Pualugu for mobilization, how much for the SML due, how much for this company that they gave the money to do mobilization on the motorway, that nothing is happening. And some way, somehow, they've left all these things and they just want to convict an innocent man. You see, I think in 2022, when the budget was read, in all fairness to Parliament, I think it was Ato Forson who saw the e-levy. Because, you know, in that budget, what they did was that they scrapped the toll. And then they took off some taxes on some items so that the communication line would be that, oh, they read the budget, oh, some taxes have been, and you know how they dubbed the tax? Electronic transaction levy. So you would think that it's something for big companies. You know, the communication line would have been that, oh, it was maybe multinationals who would be transferring their funds out. Then Honorable Ato Forson says, my people, let's sit up. This is not what has been described in the big English. That what we are having to deal with is the government practically stealing away our money because we chose to use electronic means as payments rather than cash. Then they said, oh, Ato Forson, is that it? Then we will deal with you. Immediately after they started this prosecution, they were thinking that the prosecution would make Ato Forson timid, that for some reason he will keep quiet, and like many people, when you are going through criminal trials, you are so uncertain. Sometimes some of the comments from the bench or even the Attorney General, as we will discuss in a few minutes, can be very confusing. And so if you don't take care, even as a person, however innocent you are, because of the events of uncertainty, you can never be yourself. You can imagine even if you are driving, a policeman stops you by the road. You haven't done anything wrong. But the mere fact that the policeman has even stopped you, it puts you in a certain position. Worst of all, if you don't have 50 cedis to pay the policeman, then you waste your time there. And so for a minority leader to be going through this, and when even the evidence has sought to suggest that this man practically did nothing wrong. You see, in law, there is a principle called delegatus non potest delegari, which means that a delegated duty cannot be delegated. So the Minister of Finance is seen as somebody who is performing a delegated duty by the president. That is why he reads the budget for and on behalf of the president. And so he cannot subsequently delegate a delegated duty. And so even in law, if Ato Forson had, given approval, it will be deemed as the approval of the Minister of Finance. Have you ever heard that the Ministry of Health has purchased ambulance? Whether there are issues with the ambulance or not, which we believe there are no issues, and I don't want to go into the merit of the case. Why is the Minister of Health, at the time of purchase of the ambulance, not the one being prosecuted? Why is the Minister of Health not the one being prosecuted? But why would every ministry, when they purchase, would they purchase anything, it is the Minister of Finance that pays? So I love this precedent. Sometimes you see what the MPP is doing. Sometimes I sit back and I love it. Because otherwise, if I were AG, I could quickly tell government that, oh, this has never happened, so we can't do this. Because by the laws, you cannot prosecute a Minister of Finance for acts done by other ministries. But this precedent, it makes the life of lawyers easier. The precedent said by their own people, oh, it makes life so easier. But it tells you that everything that is happening is just a calculated attempt to gag the NDC, to put fear in the leadership of the NDC. And you see, they wanted conviction. I can tell you this on authority. The Attorney General wanted conviction by 31st July. They wanted Ato Forson in prison by 31st July because from 1st August, the courts will be on what we call vacation, legal vacation. And the courts will resume in October. And in October, it will be in the heat of the election. And so nobody will even pay attention to a court case because we are having to discuss political and partisan campaign issues. And so the Attorney General wanted conviction by all means on the 31st of July, so that you cannot even appeal. The judges will be on break, your appeal will be on paper, the minority leader will be in prison. But providence has a way of exposing evil. What happened? Mr. Jakpa was in the witness box giving a testimony. He was being cross-examined by lawyers for Ato Forson. And obviously, what the lawyers for Ato Forson sought to establish was that if you look at how letters of credit work, there is no way monies could have been paid to the sellers if government had not received, the goods or the ambulance which they intended to purchase. Because of the extrinsic factors available to the Attorney General, having met Mr. Jakpa in the house of Justice Yoni Kulendi, having met or having had, you see, he was even meeting Jakpa long ago, before this audio we will talk about. He was meeting him, so it's been a casual conversation. At a point, my law firm was representing Jakpa. So he started speaking to Jakpa as far back as 2022. He started speaking to him as far back as 2022. And so those discussions that is contained in the audio were just to the Attorney General, normal discussions which we've been having. Otherwise, are you sure, or do you think the Attorney General is so stupid and dumb that you wanted an accused person to go and testify in your favor, and on the telephone the accused person kept going back and forth with you, even to the point when the AG said that, I hope we are not being recorded? You think the AG is so stupid that he's trying to convince someone, and for 10 minutes, first 10 minutes into the conversation, the person kept saying, oh no, I can't do this, just like I've been telling you when we meet in Justice Kulendi's house, as for this one. And the Attorney General will continue. It's a casual conversation. It's something they've been doing. But except that morning, he wanted a final confirmation that what we have been doing all this while, this morning you are going to court to open your case. And it is my expectation that that which we have been discussing over the years, of course, from 2022 to 19th April, there are years, to 9th April 2024. But you see, what baffles me in all these is that we have lost our conscience as a nation. Because for MPP to even have what my friend would describe as the effrontery and the temerity to organize what they describe as a press conference tells you the level to which we have descended. And so if the MPP's ambition or hope was that they will make this Attorney General scandal another MPP NDC, then we want to disappoint them. What we are discussing is not an NDC versus MPP. This information has always been known to the NDC. We had a different strategy in the case, but this was not the time. What we are having to discuss is Mr. Jakpa exchanging words with the Attorney General because of the Attorney General's own temperament. In court, Godfrey-Dame lacks what we call emotional intelligence and temperament any lawyer must have. I was in the Exton QB case with Godfrey-Dame, and half of his submissions every time had to be expunged. I keep saying that Godfrey-Dame growing up, I think he was mocked by his mates. So he has inferiority complex. Because lawyers, we talk, we know what we talk about. And so when he was given power, he could not understand that as an Attorney General, I have some limitations placed on me. We are in the courtroom. it can get heated with opposing counsel. Even after we'll sit back and laugh. Sometimes we'll fight at our court, we eat food together. And so, if you look at, have you ever heard any reasonable lawyer, any senior lawyer, say anything once in defense of this Attorney General? We've seen him in court. We've seen how he conducts. He even interferes in private cases which has got nothing to do with the state. That is the extent to which Godfrey Dame's self-inferiority, which has all of a sudden metamorphosed into some form of self-aggrandizement, is causing him to practice his law in very unethical ways. We've always said it. In the XNQB case, after court, he issued a threat about how he was going to get the decision overturned in a number of weeks. It happened as he predicted. He is more of a prophet in the practice of the law than a lawyer, because he knows what he does, and today we have the evidence. First of all, I want to also put on record that this discussion is not an allegation against the office of the Attorney General. This discussion is an allegation against the person Godfrey Dame. And so he should not invoke the office, because when you are an Attorney General, you double as a leader of the bar. By reason of that capacity, you are a member of the General Legal Council, the disciplinary committee. You see, I started attacking Godfrey Dame from 2022 because at every bar conference, he will use the opportunity to attack President Mahama as if he was a branch executive speaking for and on behalf of the MPP members. He will speak in terms that does not exemplify an Attorney General. And so, it is his background works, however dubious or albeit dubious, that has caused us to be where we are. Mr. Jakpa has filed a new application. I will not comment on the content, but the contents are even more scandalous. They are even more scandalous, shameful. It questions the entire judiciary. It questions the liberty of an individual and the trust any human being should have in the judiciary when it comes to having justice. I keep saying, and it is learned in law school, that during coup d'etats, the executive is dissolved, the legislature is dissolved. The only thing that is left for the citizens is the judiciary. And so we say that the judiciary is the last resort. When Solo and I have issues and families cannot solve it, our pastors cannot solve, the imams cannot solve, our only hope, and we do this even unconsciously, that let's go to court. Why? Because it's our expectation that in court we will get justice. However abstract the concept of justice may be, that is our expectation. So when you have an Attorney General who is obliged at law to present both evidence that can acquit or convict an accused person, when you have any prosecutor and an AG, and you have evidence in your possession that when you present to the court, the person you are prosecuting yourself may walk free. The law says that it is not your responsibility to get a conviction. Your responsibility is to get justice. So you must present both evidence, which we describe as exculpatory and inculpatory. Here, you have an Attorney General who is going beyond even the duty of presenting both evidence. And even what he said in his release dated 23rd May, that he believed he had made a case, he is going behind and forcing the arms of an accused person to come and testify against someone, saying in the audio that if you testify according to my theory of the case, you will not be in trouble. Is the Attorney General the judge? Is he going to call the judge to say that because Mr. Jakpa testified this way, he should not be in trouble? Mr. Tadiosori is the lawyer for Mr. Jakpa, the third accused. Among we the lawyers, if we were to mention 3 good lawyers in Ghana, we'll mention Mr. Tadiosori's name. Mr. Thaddeus Sorry's number is so readily available. He picks every call, anytime. I can give you his number right now and try. Mr. Thaddeus Sorry was in court on the 26th of March in the presence of the Attorney General to announce to the court that Mr. Jakpa has just employed me as the lawyer to represent him. And so I needed time to study the brief and come back. And the court obliged the adjournment, as it is done in every case when you get a new lawyer, so that between the 26th to the 9th of April, Mr. Thaddeus Sorry can study the record of proceedings and listen. So he should just be on the case. And thank God we still have men and women of conscience. When Mr. Jakpa told him that what I have gone through and suffered in 2 years, if I had to put my fellow man in that position, I cannot sleep. So unlike Godfrey Dame, some people have conscience. Even that, Mr. Jakpa never came out to make all these things public until he, the Attorney General, turned around and started accusing Mr. Jakpa of testifying for Atufos. But in any case, if there are two accused persons, if Kojo Chungwafo and myself are being convicted, we say that our interests are aligned. And so it is not even the reasonable expectation of anybody to think that I will testify against Kojo and Kojo will testify against me. Why is this done? So for the Attorney General to even get up and raise an objection to the testimony or the line of testimony of Jakpa, it should tell you that he could not believe what was happening in court. And you see, this Attorney General, he has the penchant for passing very irrelevant comments at the bar anytime he's trying a case. Sometimes even the judges will refuse to record his own submissions. What he got up to say in law has no relevance. If you think that an accused person is testifying in favor of another accused person, we say in law that it is a matter of address. When you get to the point where you have to address the court on relevant issues, you address the court. Or at best, you will raise an objection. But you see, when Mr. Jakpa released knife trial because it was going to give the case some weight, how did we get here that the liberty of a citizen is no longer a precious and a prized asset in our country? That for some reason, an Attorney General who feels inferior and wants to, he wants to talk to the media. He's the only Attorney General that after every court, he will come, you will hear him on Joy. If you are tired of his voice and you tune to City, by the time you are done, he's on Pan-African TV granting interviews. He will be everywhere. And so shockingly, on this note, we haven't heard him. Now, he cannot find the relevant sections to question the integrity of Jakpa. He does not have the video he promised us he has to bring to counter the assertions of Jakpa and the NDC. It is a shame that after how many years of our democracy, even in President Rawlings' time, where they said that, oh, President Rawlings was a military leader, you never had any of his Attorney Generals do this. We came to President Kufuor's time. You never had any of his Attorney Generals do this. Even under Nana Gloria Kufu. You may disagree. I mean, on points of law, we disagree. Sometimes, even the justices, that is why now people have issues with the unanimous FC that we are saying. Because the beauty about the law, when Justice Taylor them, Justice Sowa, Lord Denning them made their name, delivered sweet opinion. Even at the time, people would say those opinions were political. But you could see the richness of the law today. It's like how my little boys would say, did we go or did we come? Did we go? That many people have fought for our democracy. Many people have called out government. Many people have sacrificed. Some people have ended up in prison only for Godfrey Dame to come and play with the lives of people as if lives like it's a game of chess. Certainly, I want to urge Ghanaians, as of the Ghana Bar Association, the least said about them, the better. I don't even want to talk about them because the Ghana Bar Association president, Yeboah, I've forgotten his name. He was a communicator of the MPP. Boafo. Yes, and he himself was a communicator of the MPP.
Yes, so what does it have?
But you see, I expect you know when you are practicing law, you are so regulated that solo you cannot even fall in love with the woman you want. If it is in breach of the ethical practice, for instance, you did a divorce case for that person, and even 2 years later you like the woman, you cannot.
It's happening.
So that is a breach. So I'm trying to tell you that the law practice is so regulated. You cannot accept certain briefs from certain clients that you may have represented. A Juma, but so they should find work to be doing. Because you cannot leave this to be a usual NDC MPP. Today, it is Ato Forson. Today, it is Richard Jakpa. Just maybe tomorrow, it will be you and I. By which time, who will be there to speak for us?
Thank you. Thank you very much. We sincerely apologize.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, dear, I see them, yopo.